All right, we now turn our focus and attention to the Plateau State political saga, where the Court of Appeal has nullified the election of 16 PDP state lawmakers, that's members of the State House of Assembly, in addition to 5 National Assembly members of the PDP and the governor of Plateau State, also of the PDP, Caleb Mutfwang, on the grounds of electoral malpractices and non-compliance with electoral act. That's for the 16 lawmakers. This, of course, is a huge blow to the People's Democratic Party in Plateau State, which had won the state from the APC in the 2023 governorship elections, general elections, that is, and a major victory for the APC, which challenged the results at the tribunal and in the appellate court. Well, to discuss this implication of the implications of this landmark judgment, we have with us Nanlu Joseph Dashe. He's the youth leader of the All Progressives Congress in Plateau State. And we also have Segun Sowunmi. He is a former spokesperson for the People's Democratic Party and Atiku Abubakar. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. All right, let's start with you, Mr. Sowunmi, if you can hear me. How do you feel about the Court of Appeal's decision to sack your party's lawmakers in Plateau State, in addition to the governor who lost at the Court of Appeal and the 5 federal lawmakers who also lost?
Disappointed, to say the least, very disappointed. I think that the Court of Appeal is wrong. I think that the Court of Appeal cannot have a position of the same law different from the position of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court is very clear as to what constitutes pre-election issues and how another party cannot become meddlesome interlopers in the affairs of another party. The Supreme Court is very clear that the party is one, and the nominating authority for election purposes is the party in Wadata. That is the National Working Committee of the party. And most of the judgments and decisions of the courts up until now have tried to say very clearly that you cannot bring any other matter, you cannot rewrite the electoral law, and you cannot impugn what has already been taken out of the new Electoral Act, which seeks to reduce the level of contest and litigation we have by trying to say that except an interested party, maybe somebody who participated in the same process with the PDP people within the PDP, who would have had to go to the court of a federal high court or to vent their, if at all any, then the matter is a pre-election issue. It's a little bit strange that the magicians of the Court of Appeal sitting on the issues in Plateau have decided that they will pretend as if they are not aware that the Supreme Court has already taken a position that you cannot be meddlesome interlopers. Anything you are bringing that is not strictly within the 4 points or 4 areas of whether the person had lawful votes, whether he's qualified to contest in the first instance, whether there's compliance with the Electoral Act, that you cannot introduce any new thing. Now, it's strange that they have gone now to introduce things that none of the PDP contestants in the primaries and co brought before them. They have manufactured their own laws, and they have created their own status, and they have created their own interpretation in such a disappointing manner. But thankfully, they are not the final court. Therefore, I'm sure that the matters will be studied. And if it is we'll find a reason, of course, go to the Supreme Court to go and ask the Supreme Court whether the Supreme Court wants to change its mind based on what the court has said in Atiku Abubakar versus APC and Bola Tinubu, and Peter Obi versus Bola Tinubu, APC, and what have you. So it's strange, but I'll rest by saying that we must try very hard to make sure that we don't have a different interpretation of the law on similar cases. When it is for the goose, it is pre-election and it's not has any role to play in the issue. And when it is for the gander, you bring it all in and use it as the basis to say you can't build something on nothing. It's strange, but I believe that we'll just encourage everybody in Plateau State to be calm, to be law-abiding, and to wait for the decision of the Supreme Court, because definitely I don't think this illegality can stand.
Okay, Segun, show me, you call it an illegality, but how about the Electoral Act that clearly defines grounds for petition? And one of
Can
the
you show me
grounds
the part
petition.
where it says? Can you show me the part where it says that another party that has no business with the election and the primaries of another party can jump in and start meddlesomely interfering? What the
Okay,
Supreme Court has done in the cases that has been before them is to say that pre-election issues are supposed to have originated from the Federal High Court, and failing to have done that and bringing that not on the table, you can't come at the point where they are interpreting strictly the issues around whether the man won, whether he was eminently qualified to contest and all that. You can't have those rules that way. There have been cases where the court has said you can't talk about the double nomination of the vice president, Shetima, because you are a meddlesome interloper. It's not your business, you stay out of it. And would have expected that the Court of Appeal sitting in Plateau would have been sensible enough to follow the same rule. But be that as it may, like I said, we'll go to Supreme Court and test it. We can only tell our people that the court has ruled, but we do not accept any part of this, and we think that we are being done dirty.
all right, I'll come back to you on that. I want to go to Nanlo Joseph Dashe, who's the youth leader of the APC in Plateau State. Nanlo, how do you feel about the Court of Appeal's decision to uphold your party's petition and declare your candidates as the winners of the Plateau State House of Assembly election? Do you see it as a fair and credible outcome, or do you have any reservations? I doubt you do. Nanlo?
Because the court has gave us. Hello, are you getting me?
Yes, we can hear you, Nanlo, loud and clear. Dashe, please go on.
Yes, I feel very happy because we took our case to the court and we make it to the Court of Appeal. Let me just say what is the last I just said, that we are interlopers. We are not interlopers. There are several court judgments saying that they don't have ESCO to sponsor candidates. An election is talking about sponsorship. We don't have an independent candidate in Nigeria. It's talking about sponsorship. You cannot put nothing on nothing. You cannot stand. Let me tell you what people are not understanding. The Court of Appeal, I say, this is what pre and post-election matter. It means they can attend to it. We are not interlopers. From the first place, PDP took their safe court in 2020 after when they did Congress, and the Congresses did not hold, so they took themselves to court, and the court of first instance said that go back and did Congress, which they refused to do it. They refused to honor. They refused to order court orders. So we are not interlopers. Hello?
Yes, Segun, show me, what do you say to that? Because there is a precedence, there is a history to this particular case. As we saw in the appeal of Governor Muftwang, we saw also the National Assembly members who were kicked out by the court. It was a matter of being validly sponsored by the political party, and Dashe has gone back to that court ruling or court judgment which said that they should go back and conduct their primaries properly. The judge in the governor's case appeal said that the matter of being validly sponsored and nominated by a party is both a pre and post-election matter. So Dashe is saying that they are not meddlesome interlopers, as you have said.
Are for the purpose meddlesome interlopers. The way the new Electoral Act imagines things, the party that sponsors candidates is one party, and the authority by which they do that, as at the time of that election, was under the pen and the authority of Iyoshe Ayu, the then chairman of the party, and one or two persons, either the national secretary or the national organizing, signing and co-signing as the sponsored candidates of the party. There is no part of the new Electoral Act that allows people that are not involved in the process, either at the state level or so, to now begin to either sponsor candidates and all that. And the court and the APC who went to court, they are probably not aware that even that which they talk about was strictly complied with, and a new primary was done, a new Congress was done, and a new ESCO actually superintended over that process. But because they are made some interlopers, they will not have that information. That's one. Number two, the situation in the Supreme Court has already established in the Atiku versus Bola Tinubu and EPC, and Atiku and Peter Obi versus Bola Tinubu and EPC was very clear on the things that present that constitute pre-election issues. They didn't take any of these things at that level. They did not allow any conversation about 4G, whatever you were talking about, it was made some interloper. They did not even allow the question of double nomination of the candidate because it's made some interloper. And I'm surprised that we are coming to a point in the country where on the strict interpretation of statutes, the statutes that have been interpreted to be left in one situation will suddenly now become right when it is convenient. Well, like I said, our people should remain calm. We'll go to the Supreme Court, and hopefully the Supreme Court will have to say whether it now agrees with its decision that it has agreed with already, or it's going to now disagree with its decision that it has agreed with already. So as far as I'm concerned, we have heard what the judges have said. There's a lot of agony and rumor in the country as to concern the integrity of the judiciary now. As a high-ranking stakeholder in the country, I will not join in lampooning the judiciary. I will just say we respectfully disagree with that judgment. We respectfully disagree with that ruling, and we'll test it at the Supreme Court. And
okay, Segun, show me interesting. Yes, very interesting. And Nalo Dashe has been trying to say something about what I don't know. Dashe, are you there?
Say that there was a repeat Congress. Let me tell you, Plateau State is made up of 17 local governments. And in that repeat Congress, 5 local governments participated, 12 were denied. And there was a court order restraining them from doing the repeat Congress of September, 25th September 2021. There was a court order restraining them from doing the repeat Congress. And let me tell you something. If you want to do repeat Congress, you cannot come within the state and do it. You don't have what is for. Who can compile to come and do the repeat Congress? So there was no repeat Congress. And moreover, even in the PDP report, even in INEC report of that repeat Congress, he said that 5 local governments participate. And again, the Senator Tunde Ogbeya committee was given a responsibility of 90 days. And within that 90 days, they could not even do the repeat Congress. So how can he stand? How can he stand?
So it follows that, you see why I say they are medicine interlopers. I do not know what happens in their party. Why would they be so interested in knowing what happens in our own party? They are only cooking the books and making up the thing, making up the arguments as they go along. Our position is very clear. This judgment, we vehemently oppose it, we refuse it, we don't accept it.
Let me talk. In 2022, in local government,
appropriate.
Yes, show me, please. Let's allow Dashe make his final comment before I come to you. Dashe.
Okay.
Dashe, can you hear me, please?
Which PDP took their safe court that they don't have valid ESCO to sponsor candidates. And what was the decision of the Court of Appeal? The decision of the Court of Appeal said that let them go back and did Congress. And they did not do it in 2022. And there is election of by-election of Just North Basa, which PDP won. And what was the decision of the tribunal and the Court of Appeal? He said that they cannot sponsor candidates. The 2022 election is talking about sponsorship. Do we have an independent candidate in Nigeria? The answer is no. So they don't have valid history.
All right.
And in the law, PDP did not exist to Plateau.
All right. Dashe, thank you. Show me, just to end on this note, Section 134 of the Constitution of the Electoral Act talks about grounds for petition. And one of the grounds for petition is if a person who at the time of the election was not qualified to contest the election Also talks about the qualifications of a person to contest the election are clear in the Electoral Act and the Constitution, one of which is to be validly nominated or sponsored by a party. So if it's is only a pre-election matter, it won't be listed as a grounds for election. So I just want a quick comment on that before we go.
It's very clear. It's because the party that is nominating is the PDP, and it's only one party that has nominated. And the party that has nominated is the party in Abuja, through which operates through some of its organs in the lower level. Any matter that is before dispute among PDP litigants who participated in the election, assuming it was one of them that was making this environment, okay. But what is the business of the boiling of rice in our house by the next door neighbor for them to be telling us we didn't pick out the stone, we picked out the stone? Remember, he also said that, they did one, they repeated it, but it was only 5 or 6 or 7. That's our own business, not theirs. The court has ruled as they can rule. We are going to the Supreme Court. And I think that the era of saying that we don't even know what the law is, when it is for Party A, everything will be interpreted to mean pre-election and post-election can be adjudicated on. When it is for Party B, it will be a different ball game.
Okay.
We have seen them write judgments all over.
Thank you very much. But are you agreeing? But what we know is that a non-qualification is a ground for petition, and I don't know if we can expect PDP to take PDP to the tribunal. I don't know if that's possible.
What I'm saying in this particular case, moderator, is that the Supreme Court bid the case Atiku versus Bola Tinubu and INEC presidential tribunal.
Okay. So if they were wrong, because a lot of people, including the PDP, complained about it. So are you saying that if the Supreme Court was wrong,
when we get before them?
All right. Thank you so much.
The Supreme Court cannot be wrong.
Wrong. Good. Yeah.
The Supreme Court is the grand.
But your party rejected it. Your party disagreed with it. Your party disagreed with it. But now you want them to do the same thing to another party.
That says that. Hold on a second. There's constitutional provision that says
we're out of time, sir.
That says that the position of the Supreme Court on the matter is the position that all other courts in the land must follow.
Segun, show me, your party disagreed with the position of the court, but subjected itself to it. But now you're asking that the court should do the same thing in your favor now. But anyway, let's see how it pounds out. Thank you so much for your time.